Thank you, Sal.
Okay, hello everybody, I am Muhammad Ziaul. I am the student of AUSN and I am defending my PhD proposal. And my topic is ethics and art. This may be art ethics or unethical practice in art, or it can be bioethics on art. Welcome everybody to my thesis defense. Introduction. Ethics and art. Art is a study to explore the practices of ethical principles in the field of arts. The context of this proposal, having worked on just about all sides of the fence in the art world, I can say that I have run across the most amazing things being done to artists as well as things artists to do each other in the vertical career trajectory. Climbing the ladder is taken very seriously by those climbing. Those at the top have to watch who climbing up behind them, as well as whom they are trying to step over to get the very top. There are only so many options for getting to the top of one's career by the standards set up by the gatekeepers. Gatekeepers have their own set of rules to climb by, with everyone rushing to the top and with only so many slots to fill. Ethics often get overlooked. Here are some things I see often and want artists to consider when making certain choices of how to proceed. My proposal has some headlines. I make it number A, treating colleagues with respect and don't be selfish. Number B, don't treat on other artists' space and leaving a gallery. Number C, galleries that tell you what to make. Number D, using other people's images. Number A, do what you say you are going to do. Number G, desperations and bitterness. Number H, do not talk shit and be professionals. Number I, criticism and rejection. Number J, deception and artwork on private property. Number K, don't take advantage of others. Number L, eco art and privacy. Number M, safety of your audience. Number N, documentation that includes the audience. Number O, graphics, images and graduates' work. Number P, thank those who support you and asking for things. Number Q, how to treat established artists. Number R, art agents and editions and shady collectors. Number is blind submissions and approaching galleries. That's are the main topic of my proposal. Aims and objectives of the dissertations. This study aims to explore the ethical and unethical practices in art industry by the people who are involved with the art and practices. The present study will also explore the perceptions of artists and people who are background about practices of ethical principles in art. Research questions. The following research questions will be answered through this study. Number A, what are the practices considered as ethical from the artist's view? Number B, what are the perceptions of ethical standards of art practices in the society? Number C, defining the ethical behavior in the field of artwork. Number D, how art practitioners maintain ethical standards during their artwork. Organizations of the study. This study will consist of several chapters including research design and analysis. 1.5, significance of the study. The present study will explore the view of ethics in the field of art, which remain overlooked for centuries. the practices of creativity remain beyond the questions of ethics, which makes the ethical ground more vulnerable for the people and animals that use in art as a different form. The findings of this study can define the ethical and unethical practices in the name of artwork and help the people who are being exposed towards unethical and harmful activities in the field of art. Number 1.6, limitations. The desert has some limitations like exploring the ethical and unethical practices in the field of art is a challenging task. The limitations would be the cultural difference in perceptions and definitions of ethical practices in artwork. Chapter 2, Research Design. Research methods. Based on the research questions, qualitative research method will be the best method to answer the questions and explore the perceptions of ethical practices. The exploration of ethical practices in art is remaining overlooked in academia, and there is not much more reliable study to connect to answer the research questions and explore the understanding of ethical practices in art to gather existing data, resources, and interview the respondents. Quality type study would be suitable for this kind of study. Research environment. This study will take place in Bangladesh and gather information, data, and resources from all over the world. Interview the participants in their natural settings so that the data will have many remains as natural as possible. The words respondents will use may reflect their perceptions. Research respondents. The key information and respondents of this study will be the artists, collectors, visitors, and organizers in the field of art. The respondents will be chosen through purposive random sampling method to meet the study's objectives and aims. Research instruments. In order to gather the necessary data and information to answer the research questions, this study employs a semi-structured interview using a researcher-made interview guide, questionnaires based on research questions of the study. Dry run. The interview guide or questionnaires of this study were checked and validated by a group of experts from academia, including a university professor, research supervisor, and by the member of artist organizations. The data collections. Thank you, everybody. 2.6, data collections. The data and information that will be used, present, and analyzed this study will be drawn from the aforementioned key informers and through one-on-one interviews. Other data will be collected through data mining using whatever existing data, information, and documents. Interviews with key informants will be conducted, and after examining publicly available documents and during the interview, the respondent will also be requested if they can provide further written and or recorded material related to the topic. Data analysis. The study will tabulate data according to plans, indicators, framework, method, strategies, tools, programs, activities, and level of implementations. Challenges and issues will be identified through documents, species, interviews, and will be arranged thematically according to the order of priority and relevance. The data provided by the province and the city will be interpreted, analyzed, and compared. Implications of this data will be drawn based on the findings, conclusions, and recommendations will be proposed. Theoretical framework. The present study will utilize the definition of ethics and bioethics to identify ethical principles from respondents and explore the difference. Chapter 3, Literature Review. Tools used to measure bioethics on art. Due to very few works have done before, there are no such tools which can be utilized in this study directly. We need to develop new tools to conduct this study. As part of development, we will develop a semi-structured interview using a researcher-made interview guide questionnaire based on the research questions of the study. Challenges of ethics and art. How do ethical and environmental issues such as climate changes affect the lives of artists? Ellie Harrison explains why she decided to develop ethical policies for her artistic practice and how this forced her to re-examine her career goals. Ellie Harrison considers her green lifestyle choices to be an integral part of her artistic practice. As artists, it is essential that we are self-reflexive and honest when it comes to why do we what we do. The art world and ethical issues. In 2008, defining an artist activity's career, that sense what you are doing is important and that everyone should listen to you. Imagine how effective that would be if we were saying something that was actually useful. There is a very little connections in art between labor and wage. There is a very little connection in art between labor and wage. We happily work away at art for the love of it, often with very limited respect of reward. So far from quitting art, I developed a way of working which is borrowed from the ways large organizations like Greenpeace work across multi-pronged channels of officials, semi-officials, and elite activity on negotiate specific aims. Lifestyle choices for artists. But what on earth does all this have to do with art? You might say, quite a lot. These lifestyle choices are all part of what I would refer to as holistic art practices. We need to construct lifestyle where we can close our value action gap, the gap between what we care about and what we do. Number 3.3, ways in bioethics on art. We need to start from the academic level and freelance art practitioners to be practices from their own and in the local and international level of exhibitions where art-related institutions can reviewing their criticisms through ethical aspects. Number 3.4, organizations or authorities are responsible to the ethics. The artists, gallery owners, art practitioners institute, association of the artist and academician, Ministry of Cultural Affairs and law enforcement authority can be the responsible of authority in this art. And okay. Then after all the research, we have to get the results and discussions.
So it's for
okay. That's all my proposal, and I need to concern about this proposal with you, and can you please give any questions and suggestions to me? It's most welcome to this floor. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Ziaul. So I think we can see a lot of potential for improving the ethical nature of art. I'd like you to go back to the beginning, some of the criteria you mentioned. Like some of the basic parameters of what would be ethical art there, yes. The context. And can you go to the list? So where did you got this from? Reading some of the literature and your own experience. Could you explain your job as a designer?
Yes.
So how many of these ethical issues have you personally faced?
As a designer and an artist, I face a lot of unethical practice in this field. You know, some artists, they can steal another concept and they can copy some of other artists' work. Some concepts are some people published without their not any consent from other artists. Some gallery people, they sell the artwork without any consent from artists. Some artists can also cheated with gallery. They show exhibitions. After the exhibition, they contact with those people are collector. They directly contact with them and they just sell it, violate the gallery rules and regulations. So all the experts, there is a lot of unethical practices. Sometimes we have designed for a group of people and after the presentation they can deny us for the budget or cost, and after a long time we see that some people are doing the same job, same design and same artwork using without any consent, or there was no any copyright in this area. And the practice in Bangladesh also, several countries we face this type of. So I think this should be an ethical guideline or practice in this arena. That's why I try to do my dissertation in this sector. Have any
Yes.
questions?
Yeah, the one element is to make the work distinctive by having documenting about. For example, you have a sculpture and there is a certain place where you put like a plate where your name, your address, and there's in galleries what sometimes happen, the gallery person does not want to connect the customer, the potential buyer directly with the artist. The artist remains just a name so that he cannot make either better deals or further deals. So further deals should only be through the gallery, which is a kind of an disempowerment. So the gallerist should display if there's a set of art, there must be like a bio with the full contact and identity of the artist. Now from the artist point of view, it's very important you also make your specific mark, which the copycats don't know. So you do an artificial mistake somewhere, always on the same place, or in the same kind of pattern, maybe in the same circumstances. You see, at 1 meter you have a 2 meter sculpture, at 1 meter you have somewhere a small hole with a hammer. So you think it's a mistake by transport, but it's your originality thing. So you as scientists also important to make your art so unique that the copycat doesn't know what is your unique feature. So you have to be secret about it. So you can also detect your copies like that. Thank you.
Yes, in our area, like a sculpture artist and gallery, they have some gap between both. Here some artists make some mistake to do the deal with the gallery. They make the sculpture and also show with the gallery. They have a contract that after sale we can get 40% from your purchase still, and rest of the amount artist can get, and the detail of the artist contract and everything on display on that with this artwork. And sometimes gallery doing that, they manage everything and they say that it's not sale, or that's not this artwork is not properly sold to the buyer. And sometimes gallery, they copy their total, they can copy to this artwork concept, material, also media, and how make it. And some gallery can hire another skilled artist or something. They can directly copy this type of work and they make it different sizes, different category, and it's
Yes,
in
and what
society.
what
and-
they then do, they keep your original
Yeah,
in the store
yeah.
and they sell the copies, and then when you come to check, your original is still not sold.
Yeah.
That is another
That
trick
is
of
also
a...
a practice in
Yes.
gallery. And, this is very common, and over the world this happen. Big artist artwork, they just gallery take for the shows. After shows, he give you just copy work to the artist, and also gallery and also some museums.
Keep them in.
Also museums do this type of business in worldwide, and big group of people join and involve this type of thing. So it's a issue of this
Art forgery.
art industry, I think.
So one solution that I think or suggest is to teach the how do you call it, the artists to copyright their works. No, so to prevent the the scrupulous people of copying their work, and then so I think that's one. And then may I check the title again? What's the title of your ethics?
Because unethical practices in art or
Mhm.
not,
Still working on the title.
Yeah.
still not final.
So I think that's one of the you could probably check it out if and these artists have an idea on copyright, and where they inform about their rights on their piece of work, and have they attended any seminar or information about copyright?
In every country have the copyright law, and
Mhm.
also
And are
it's
they
happen
aware?
again. But some people is like some artists are already passes away. They have very limited of artwork, and some gallery owners or this type of people copied the work and they show exhibits and they validated it. This is original work, and they purchase and they can sell it at huge prices, and nobody can know where to check if that is original or not, or how many piece of artwork this artist have or not. So that's a gap, and this is the problem. So copyright time have also in our country, also another country, but it's not properly it's not working anymore. So that's it should ethical guideline. Without ethical practice, it cannot be happened. I
So
think.
what is the objective of your study? After having done this study, what would you like to come up with, or what would be the result?
My objective, we think we just make a ethical guideline for the artist
Ethical
and art
guidelines.
industry, and related to the people of gallery owners, the media people. You just try to work with the ethical guideline. No need for the right of copyright or law enforcement authority. But this is very sensitive issue, so it's very tough to continue by the law enforcement or everything. If you do not ethical practice, it cannot be solutions by this law or something. I think this should be ethical guideline and practice to
The
over
problem
this.
is, even if you have ethical guidelines, if there is no law, you said that would create even more problem, because people are more careful not to violate any copyright because of the penalty would you know the penalty to anybody who are caught on, violating copyright? How much is the penalty here in Bangladesh?
Bangladesh is not this type of practice in the society. It's very recently it's tried to do this type of copyright and this type of things, but we have the law. If copyright violation, that would be more than 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs taka of Bangladeshi taka. This is the penalty, and also in jail and other things they have. But no example still happened in here. But a lot of what this type of cases we have find in the society.
Because in the Philippines, it's really punishable, like plagiarism or punishable by law, and like pirate, even videos, piracy. It's really punishable, and they have to pay a lot of money, and then also imprisonment.
Yeah, also maybe not in part of the study, but part of thinking when you're doing as an artist, the certification process of the genuinity, so that the documents get kind of a certification body. The artists are in association. They have their own marketing channels. Galleries are there are several types of galleries. There are religious organizations who makes it for charity. Your own association, if you form an association, you have your own gallery, and people will feel that is when I'm with the artist, and you sell only, this is your gallery, the artist association gallery, you get a whole, it's not so expensive, and make thematic area, have 4 or 5 artists, and the physical artist, you stand there. Sign. So you have direct marketing. It's like agriculture products. You buy from the farmer. So you now buy from the artists. So when you build this kind of systems, you may have also high level of genuinity, and maybe people also willing to pay and have that interaction with the artist. For 1 week, for example, you have a week. These 4 artists are physically 1 week there. And then you talk about the art, you express it, you have documentation like a small storybook, 1 or 2 pages per piece, and you can sell it and give it out with it. So therefore you can avoid these dragons of middlemen. They're called middlemen in business. So if you can avoid that and have a second channel, then the galleries may become less interesting. You cannot cut them off in the beginning, no. You still have to sell because you need money to make new things, with new material. But you can think of how to make an association, fundraise together, and say 10% of our sales comes to a kind of artist development fund. You tax yourself. And then you build your own gallery, manage yourself, either in shifts or you hire someone, depends. Then you have maybe systems where you avoid the middlemen in the future.
Nowadays, it's starting in Bangladesh. We have also a big association, artist-owned association, Charushilpi Shamshad. I'm also the member of these organizations, and we are trying to do this type of gallery work. But some problem, artists they are not united, and they cannot do like this type of organization. We cannot run this organization. Last 10 years we are trying to be, they just go for individual. This is the practice of artists. Most of artists in Bangladesh, also in other countries, so they are not this type of organized people, and they have no this type of big organization. We are trying, but it's still ongoing.
So will that form part of your study, like identifying, that's a very good suggestion provided by Uncle. Will you provide all the association by the artist?
Yes.
and then also the activities that they are conducting in order to promote art in Bangladesh. I think that would also be a very good to form part of your thesis, because at least in one book you'll be able to put in the book anything that would be beneficial for the artist, so that can serve as their reference materials in the library.
That's good. Yes, it's a good suggestions. I think we can make it here and we try to do this type of project.
Well, I think thank you so much, everyone, for the good suggestions for Ziaul's work, and we wish you luck. It's very much needed, yeah, to develop the ethical guidelines for artistic reproduction and design. And I guess we have to think about the scope, whether we just talk about Bangladesh and some other country comparison. We have other issues such as return of indigenous art and other body parts, all sorts of issues, so you can include that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.